The Dallas Stars. They've got a few young players to be excited about, maybe potential superstars even. But one player in particular has caught my eye, and I think he's primed to have a huge season, maybe even historic. Welcome back, hockey fans. Welcome in if this is your first time to the channel. I'm Josh. This is the Hockey Flow, and today it's Monday, September 5th, 2022. Happy Labor Day to my friends in the States. Happy Monday to everybody else. We got a lot of fun today on the channel. We're going to be talking about the Dallas Stars and their young star, Roope Hintz. He had a breakout season last year, but it led me to thinking. And I have one question that we're going to answer with help from Jfresh Hockey, Stathead Hockey, HockeyReference.com. We're going to dive deep into his career so far. We're going to look into some player comps, all to answer one question. Is Roope Hintz a 40-goal, 100-point scorer this season? Let's get into it. All right, so what we're going to start with is what led us here, right? So we're going to look at Roope Hintz's career to this point, in particular his season last year, and see what that tells us moving forward. So big shout out to Jfresh Hockey on the player cards. We see a new one at the top. That's actually a projection card. He just released these, so very excited to get to incorporate these, but we'll get to that in just a moment. Down towards the bottom, the big one, we're used to those. Blue is good, red is bad. That hasn't changed. We see a lot of blue on Roope Hintz, as we should. He had a breakout season last year. As we can see, 80 games played, 37 goals, 35 assists, good for 72 points. Shooting percentage, absolutely incredible, 17.4, averaged 18 minutes on ice. And I added a new stat for us. Again, big shout out to Hockey Reference and Stathead Hockey. Goals created, we do see a little bit of a jump there. So we're going to do what we always do at the channel. We're going to listen to the numbers and see what they tell us, see if they can answer our questions. So let's get back to Roope. So again, had a really, really good last season, but I'm here to tell you, maybe last season wasn't the real breakout. Maybe it was the season before. The COVID season really kind of threw a wrench into everyone's plans. So when you look at the stats, sometimes they don't stand out to you, but tell you what, 41 games played, 43 points, better than a point per game pace. That's absolutely incredible. But the big number that stands out in the COVID year is those assists. 28 assists. That's absolutely incredible. Let's keep that number in mind because we got to answer the question, is he a 40-goal, 100-point scorer this season? We've got some ground to make up then, right? 72 points, 37 goals, 3 goals. Hey, if he plays in those other 2 games and plays a full season last year, maybe he gets 40 goals and this is a moot conversation. But 37 goals last year, so I think he can absolutely replicate that and get right back to it. Why do I think that? Because his numbers are still solid. Look at all that blue within his shots, and he only graded out in the 78th percentile in his actual shot category, but finishing 94th percentile means he was better than 94% of the NHL. That is absolutely fantastic. His even strength offensive numbers were great too, and it's neat to see that even strength defense not be the defensive black hole, seeing a big 0 there, because Roope Hintz is a two-way centerman. He's building up a little bit of a reputation as a two-way offensive and defensive player. Got some Selke votes last season, so again, I'm really high on Roope Hintz coming into this season. Absolutely think he's going to have a great year, but 40 goals, 100 points, let's keep looking. So his passing numbers are going to be something that we want to look at as well, but I want to start with the shooting percentage. You know I'm a sucker for shooting percentage because I think it does tell a good story, right? If you see a jump, a player has a huge season, lots of goals, but that shooting percentage all of a sudden jumped, you need to understand why. Was there something that the player changed, a new coach, new system? Did something just click? That stuff scares me. If you only have one season sample size, that worries me that there is room for regression. But once you start to see 2, 3, 4 seasons in a row at the same thing, you start to understand that this is just what it is, right? We saw it with JT Miller. His shooting percentage was very consistent throughout his career. He hit a certain point, and that's just where it was, and it just stayed there. I think this is what we're going to see with Roope Hintz. If anything, we might see it go up a little bit, but man, there's not much room for improvement there. 15.8 improves to 16.3 and then kicks up to 17.4. We're already talking fairly elite status. The best of the best are shooting 18, 19, 20% is absolutely incredible. So he did have a really, really good season, not just last year, the season before, and the season before that was really where he found his stride with his shot. The other spot to really look out for with the COVID season, his average time on the ice, it jumped incredibly. So we'll get to that. We'll get back to that, but I do want to touch on these passing numbers because if we're expecting him to score 40 goals and 100 points this season, he's going to have to increase those assist numbers. Goals, not so much. Just keep doing what you're doing, right, Roope? But those assist tallies, man, 35, that number is absolutely going to have to climb. And it doesn't really concern me. That doesn't feel like that's a big jump necessarily if he gets, 20 more assists, because we see in that COVID season he had 28 assists, right? 28 assists compared to 15 goals. That was where he really carried that point per game pace, was within his assists. This season is where he really turned it on with the goals. So if he can go back to that, keep the goal scoring where it is, but increase those assist numbers, 100 points isn't out of the range, right? Now a lot of it's going to depend on his teammates. We talked about it at the very beginning. There are a few young stars primed to break out and be superstars in the NHL. Jason Robertson, we're looking at you. Jake Ottinger, we're looking at you, good sir. But the Stars have some good pieces, and they still have some good older talent too. Joe Pavelski had a great season last year, the ageless wonder. Can the Stars get him to a cup? That's going to be one of the storylines of this season. So Roope Hintz does have a supporting cast. If we can get Taylor Seguin to ever come back to what he used to be, he turned it on for flashes last season. That's going to help as well. But also the coaching change. I think that's going to have an impact. I think they're going to give Roope more time, and that's a big one. Average time on ice, 18 minutes, right? 18 minutes. I really fully expect to see that number go up. It has to if we expect to see those the assists go up as well. We need 100 points, right? So he has to be on the ice more. More responsibility with the penalty kill would be fantastic. And if we look at the projection, the projection does bode well. It lines right up with what he did this last season. Yes, the microstats is a little more limited of a sample size, but Roope Hintz still graded out very well in the full card as well, and his projection lines up very nicely. I fully expect those defensive numbers to continue to rise, though. 44%, a little low. I fully expect that to get back to where it used to be. So we've talked about the good, right? He's been fantastic. He had a great season last year. Now he does still have some areas to improve, and that's good. That means he hasn't plateaued. 72 points, that's excellent for a lot of players, but that's not where I want a superstar, right? A frontline centerman, that's not what the number I want you to be at. I want you to be touching 100, right? And that's where we think he can get. Well, then he's going to have to improve, and he needs to have areas to improve on. And he does, right? Even in his shooting, we circled the in-zone shots right there, only 41 percentile. That absolutely has room for improvement. So if he can improve that, keep all of his other numbers consistent. Boy, he loved operating off of the rush. If he can do that, absolutely, he can cross that 40 goal mark, get his teammates in those dangerous positions like he's already doing, and he can absolutely increase those assist numbers. So that is Roope Hintz's season last season and history up until this point. If we want to look at the full picture and see if this is something that's actually obtainable, we need to look back at the history as well. And like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, there's only been 3 players since 2000 that have scored 40 goals, over 40 goals, or over 40 assists, in their age 26 season. And that's exactly where our lad's going to be at this season. Roope's going to be 26 this season. And if we look at the players here, I actually had to expand the range a little bit, and we went and looked for 40 goals, 80 plus points. And the list, still not very long. We're looking at only 6 players. So if Roope Hintz could even accomplish 40 goals and 80 plus points this season, he would join a pretty short list of players to do so in their age 26 season. Of course, players have done it beforehand, but this season, in particular for Roope, he's 26. I wanted to see who else has done this in their age 26 season. Has it been done before? It has, but it's a little rare. Have we talked about Leon Draisaitl's last season enough? I don't think we've done a video on it. I really think I should now. 55 goals, 55 assists for 110 points. That's the highest point total for anyone in their age 26 season. For scoring over 40 goals as well. He put up 55. That's absolutely incredible. His shooting percentage, 19.8%. My goodness. But the big number that stands out with all those other players, average time on ice. Milan Hajduk is the only player to be under sub 20 minutes, 1950, so he's right there. But that shooting percentage was 20%. My goodness, the Avalanche legend. We love to see that. I don't think Roope's going to cross 20%. I really don't. So that means he needs more time on the ice, more responsibility on the penalty kill. Yes. But if we're looking at this list, and I'm going to be a complete realist, 40 goals and 100 points is going to be really, really tough to do. It would be tough to do for anyone. We don't know what could happen this season. Injuries, not to him, but to other people, right? The Stars could fall off the wagon. Maybe they have a great season, and that's what we're banking on, but you never know what could happen. So let's be a little more real. Who is someone that has had a secondary breakout that we could compare Roope to in their age 26 season? Alexander Barkov is our guy. So last season, Alexander Barkov was in his age 26 season, and he absolutely broke out again. Don't get me wrong, Alexander Barkov has been really great for the past, 4 seasons now, but he's got to be on the ice, right? He's got to play. Sure, the COVID short season, everyone didn't get a full season in. That's okay. But before that, 66 games. He gets a full season in and puts up 96 points. That's absolutely incredible. Last season, though, only 67 games, 39 goals, 49 assists, and 88 points. That's something that I'm looking for Roope to do this season. Now, keep in mind, Barkov only played 67 games. He plays a full season. He's probably joining this illustrious list, right? He's going to probably join the 3 gentlemen in the 100-point, 40-goal category. But again, you never know what's going to happen. So again, Barkov should be on this list, but injuries kept him out. He wasn't able to play. But I think Roope Hintz is a nice comparison to Alexander Barkov. Barkov had this big season last year. I think Roope Hintz is primed to have his breakout this season. But let's look at the why, right? The shot percentages are in the same ballpark. That is something that I always look for. 17% for Barkov in his big season there, 96 points, 17%. That's fantastic. That's where Roope Hintz was at last season, right? 14.8% in the COVID season, and then 18.2% last season. There's that little bit of a jump we're looking at, right? You didn't go backwards, but you also didn't jump a ton. It's just a little bit. Roope Hintz could do that. 18% this season with average time on ice, 20 minutes. If Roope Hintz could line up and get that 20 minutes and continue his shooting at an 18% clip, improves that from that 17% clip, then of course his goals are going to go up, right? And more time on the ice means more opportunity to get pucks to his teammates. We already saw that his passing numbers are very solid. I could fully see those assist numbers rising and rising. Now, I do understand that Barkov and Roope Hintz are absolutely different players, right? Barkov's not known for his speed and skating ability necessarily. He's going to be a little more crafty, use his body, puts the puck in great spots. On a breakaway, there might not be anyone better in the NHL, and Barkov did have his breakout sooner, right? He was almost a bona fide star in the NHL right away. 78 points in 79 games played his first season. My goodness, Roope Hintz didn't do that. It took Roope a little time, but there are late bloomers, right? Well, now we're at the spot where they're in the same points in their career. Age 26 season for Roope. Last season was age 26 for Barkov. This is going to be Roope Hintz's time to shine, right? This is going to be it. But that average time on ice, I fully expect if Roope Hintz can cross that 20-minute mark and keep that shooting percentage where he is, he's absolutely going to do fantastic this season and does have a shot at 40 goals and over 100 points. So the answer to the question, is Roope Hintz going to score 40 goals and 100-plus points this season? He could, right? Absolutely. If everything goes right, if he continues to progress like he has, continues to do the things well that he has shown that he can do well, if the teammates continue to progress and keep playing great, then absolutely, Roope Hintz could be a 40-goal, 100-point scorer in the NHL. Maybe that's not the most realistic this year, but 40 goals, absolutely obtainable. Maybe we're looking at 40 goals and 85 points, 40 goals and 90 points. That would still be an excellent progression for Roope Hintz. The Dallas Stars would be happy with that. Dallas Stars fans, I think you guys would be happy as well, because that probably means the team's doing good. But that's going to do it for the video today, guys. I really do appreciate you. What do you guys think about Roope Hintz? Are you a fan? fan? Do you think he's going to be a 40-goal, 100-point scorer this season? Or are we a little too ahead of ourselves? Or maybe we're way off the boat and you're not a fan. Either way, I'd love to hear from you guys. Always fun talking with you. Be sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We do appreciate that. And we'll see you next time. Cheers!